I'm just chilling on a park bench that I found. Like, I just wanted to go outside today because the weather is just so nice. I have so many positive thoughts about life. I kind of just wanted to film a video documenting my thoughts, and I don't know, I just realized that life can be so simple sometimes in such a good way. You don't have to complicate shit. Like, a lot of things are really not so deep, and there's just a very beautiful simplicity about life. Another thing I realized is that I have like a comfort zone of discomfort. I realize it's so much more comfortable for me to be uncomfortable in one sense versus another. It's easy for me to be uncomfortable when it comes to achieving my own goals and my own ambitions and being independent. And although it's like, okay, yeah, it's not the most comfortable thing for me to go solo traveling, and I do feel stressed, you know, especially when I'm chasing my dreams, but it's like the kind of stress that I'm used to. And just talking with my friends, I realized that it's way more difficult for me to be uncomfortable in like social situations and to truly try to connect with others. And I think that's like the sort of discomfort that I've not exposed myself to that much. I have like such a bad habit of being very impartial or like apathetic almost towards other people. And it's not even because like I'm genuinely like apathetic, like I don't give a shit, but it's like I've conditioned myself to not give a shit because I was just hyper independent, and I was always just like, okay, like I'll let them do their own thing, like I won't intrude, because I always feel like I'm intruding for some reason. Like, even just saying hi or doing something like extra, like doing something that's not just the NPC, like you walk past them, you do nothing. I don't know, like doing anything that's like extra, in my opinion, feels like I'm intruding on their space, or like I'm doing too much. And I have to realize that that's honestly probably not the case. Every time, like, I always hesitate to approach people or like interact with people because I feel like I'm intruding on something, or like if they're talking with their friends, like, oh, maybe they don't want me to be there, like I should just keep to myself and like do my own thing and let them do their own thing. And bruh, like, how are you gonna make friends if that's the case? A lot of friendships is just someone like intrudes a little bit, and then you intrude a little more, and then that gives them like an idea that they can intrude a little more, and then you just close the distance. Otherwise the distance just gets further and further. And I realized that I always try to keep my distance with other people because I don't know, man, like before I was always like, okay, I'll just keep my distance and I'll do my own thing and I'll just be happy doing my own thing. But that made me realize that I was missing out on something because it felt like I kept my heart on a leash almost. I hope people relate to this, because like sometimes even saying hi to somebody or like waving at someone, or I mean, I do this now, but like before, definitely as a kid in high school, whatever, like I would just ignore people because I'm like, okay, they probably don't want me to say hi to them, which is so dumb. Because if I think about it, I mean, at least for me, if like anyone, even if I didn't even like the person that much, like if they just said hi to me, like I'm pretty happy. Like, why not, you know? I like it when people are there. Like, I prefer people being there than not being there. And even if I don't know you that well, the more the merrier. And it doesn't help, I guess, now that we live in such like a hyper individualized society, especially in North America. You go on your solo dates and you go solo traveling and you don't need other people and you're gonna protect your own peace. This kind of like hyper individualism, that's not necessarily a good thing. And I used to be such an advocate for like the individual. Now I'm realizing that it's not a very helpful message, because at the end of the day, you cannot accomplish a lot of things on your own. Obviously, be comfortable by yourself, but if you're already comfortable by yourself, I think it's good to realize that at the end of the day, you do need other people. For instance, like if you're a director, you want to make a movie, like what? Like a movie you make by yourself, sure, it could be good, but a movie you make with other people is always going to be better, and life is always going to be better with other people. And I think a lot of times there's always this idea as well of like, oh, like you want to do, like you want to improve, you're on your self-improvement journey, whatever, and then you have to ditch all your friends, and you know, your friends, they just don't understand, and blah blah blah. It's better to be alone than to have shitty friends, which I agree for the most part. But I also think, like, at least from my experience, not everyone is so shitty to the extent that you have to completely cut them off. I think we have like this sort of mentality where it's like, oh, like they did one thing that was wrong, and then now you're just gonna like you're just not gonna talk to them ever again. And I realize a lot of things can be solved through communication. I guess some people are just less emotionally mature, but I think most people, they deserve second chances. And obviously don't give them like fifth and sixth chances, and obviously if they're abusive, don't. But a lot of times I think we're a little bit too cutthroat almost with our friendships, and we don't try to solve relationship problems by talking it out, and instead we kind of just ghost people or just not communicate. And I don't think that's a very good thing. There's always more to it, and you can always learn so much more just by communicating. But yeah, I think I need to take more risks in that sense. I'm definitely still gonna do like my own shit and like work towards my own goals, but I just realized that this is so overexposed. But I just realized that this is something that genuinely makes me uncomfortable in a way that I'm not used to. And I think that by getting better at this, I could be more free in a sense. Like even just reading my journal, like I have my journal here, right? And sometimes when I'm bored at night because I don't want to go on social media, I mean I still do sometimes, but like sometimes when I really don't want to go on social media and I also don't feel like reading like my anti-colonial theory books, I just like read my journal. And I've had this for like almost 3 years now. And just looking back at my journal, I realized how much I wanted to control my life. Like literally, I flip over all the pages, and I know I've always been aware of the fact that I like to control things, but it has never been so evident to me. Like it never really materialized. This is proof that I'm a control freak. Like what the fuck? Sorry if this is like kind of crass or whatever, but no, like looking at that, like every single entry I read, it was like, oh, like this thing happened, but like now I'm gonna get up at 6:30 a.m. every single morning and I'm gonna do this. There's so many like habit tracker things in there, and looking through my journal, I never realized how problematic it was, because I always thought that, you know, there is a benefit to it. But sometimes when you see it in that sense, it's like, girl, like you were really searching for control, because you will, like I will see like literally every single month it was, okay, now I'm going to eat really healthy and I'm going to do this and this. Why is this pattern like so present in my life? I just see it, it's just written down, and it's just me trying to control everything. And just seeing all of that and flipping through my journal, it made me realize like, oh shit, like am I even trying to live at this point, or am I just trying to be a robot? Like am I just trying to be this perfect robot? I need to do something else. Like I can't, like I'm not saying maybe this is right, maybe I don't know, maybe this is right, but I've been doing this shit for the past 5 years, so I need to at least try something different, right? I don't think discipline is bad, but literally every single habit I wrote in there, like all the things I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this from now, I'm gonna do this from now on. And it's just like, wow, like I never gave myself a chance to live. And now that I'm just more chill, I'm in a better mood, I'm thinking, and I'm like, I'm gonna try living differently. And every time I'm like, I'm gonna try living differently, it's almost like, okay, I'm just gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna run 10 kilometers, I'm gonna do this habit and do that habit. And it's just like, is that making me more free, or is that making me more controlled? And I know that discipline is freeing, but I think the particular way that I approach it is not very freeing. I'm only allowing myself to be a certain way, and I'm not allowing myself to be a full human being. I used to meditate a lot, especially during my marathon training. Sometimes when I meditate, I don't really do the whole like think about nothing or like perceive your thoughts or whatever. I try to like visualize like my future self, and then I try to see like what my future self wants to tell me. And one time, like I just like had this voice, or like this voice that told me you're limiting yourself and that you could be so much more. Because I think during that period, it's like I fed upon darkness. But I sound actually insane, but like I just realized like you could be so much more if you didn't try to control your life. I don't know, just looking at like the shit that I wrote in my journal, I'm like, maybe you should just try to do something else. Because I don't know, like even if that works or if that doesn't work, it's like you've been on this character arc for too long. I think you should like try to do the opposite of what you would normally do. And that's my current mentality towards life. Yeah, I don't know why I went on this whole rant, but I hope people related to this, and this is just more positive, like starting a new chapter of your life, trying something new, doing the opposite of what you would usually do. But I'm gonna sound like so deep and cheesy, but like the thing about life is like, as long as you're living, you're living. I think at any moment you could decide to change things for yourself, and there are very difficult situations, and there are situations where it just feels like your head is underwater and you can't do anything about it. But like, trust me when I say this, there will always be a moment in life where you believe that everything has been worth it. Like those are the moments I live for, like the moments where like I'm sitting alone in a forest, or I'm with my friends, or I'm with my family, and I'm like, wow, like I'm alive, and this has been worth it. My whole life has been worth it just for this moment. The anticipation of one of those moments can make me live for 100 years. I would live 100 years just to experience one of those moments where you're so connected with everything and you just feel so alive. And that's what life is about, guys. But yeah, that is all I have to say. Thanks for listening to my long ass rant. Bye.